Oh boy, what a day today was. I checking my watch to make sure it's 6 o'clock. I don't like being late, and I don't like missing. I'm a big person for consistency. Comics! What's up, my brother? Yeah, I said that right. Brother. Brother. How you doing, man? I had a rude awakening. Well, not a rude awakening. I had it. Craig, what's up, my buddy? Oh, good to see you guys. How's everybody been doing? Ground crew, how are you? Whether you're watching now or you're going to watch later, I love you. And I wouldn't be where I am right now if it wasn't for y'all, because last I checked, 329. But I'm not going to check now. Comics, you can if you want. What did you think of the glass break? And then I was just trying something new. Gotta try and improve constantly. I'm really glad you guys are here, and I am really curious how y'all are doing. I apologize, I didn't come in. That's what I was just gonna say. Comics sounds like a normal day for you. What are you pissed off about? Papa, what's up, brother? How you doing? Okay, you dig it. The glass, okay. Papa, go back. After the live is over, go back and let's... No, you don't have to. So basically, while this was playing... And then I came on. It was... I don't know, I just thought of it just then when I did it. So, I'll figure something out. I just have no idea what I'm going to do that isn't going to be dumb. And I still have to get my stinking little military chick hair fixed so that it's not chopped anymore. Did you guys see on my last live, a guy left a comment, actually quite a few, but the first one was, oh, no, this was another guy. He said, nice mullet. My response, wow, nice imagination. Does this look like a friggin' mullet to you? Hair? Either way, it was funny as hell. It really was. And now there's another guy on there that's saying all kinds of odd things. Random odd things, like... Yeah, I'll give it time, comics. It'll be most people again. People piss me off too. All the time. Especially yesterday. When I was at... Or was that today? No, that was yesterday. Retirement brain, oh my gosh. Hopefully I'm not going to be retired much longer. Yeah, and you were talking about how the... Yeah, I'm going to rock the mullet. Why not? It worked for Blake Shelton. If he could do it, I can do it. Except he's a lot taller than me. Papa, how's your back feeling? I saw what you said about the roads. So I was just curious how your back is now. Oh, welcome back, Craig. Good to see you. Papa, how's your back? I don't want to move on and talk like I didn't just ask you a question. Duh. Yeah, you're right. Samson does too. That's right. I hadn't even thought of that. The first person I think of with a mullet is Queenie. Thank you, sister, because I know you had something to do with it. Last I checked, 329. that's got to be on you, because holy crap, lady. Thank you, sister. I appreciate it. Papa, Samson rocks a mullet. How's your back? See, I'm staying on target until Comics starts his shit, and then I'm gonna go all over the place. It's so dumb. I'm sitting here looking at the chat right there. It's probably weird. Let's see. I want to bring up, just to FYI, kind of, Tucker Carlson just dropped one of his episodes like 5 minutes ago. So I'm going to bring it up so that we can watch it. Don't make an ear. That's Duke. And it texted me a login code. By the way, everyone, two-factor authentication, do it. Big time need to do it. Okay. Comics, you almost got me with that. Comics is a fancy redneck and he says mullet instead of mullet. Alright, let me... Duke, what are you doing with your tail? He's wagging his tail on the freaking... Doesn't that hurt? He's wagging it on the wooden frickin', whoops, sorry. The wooden leg of the L desk. Well, it's not an L, it's like a 90 degrees. You gonna lay down there? You gonna lay down? You can hear him. I forgot to mention, I think I forgot to mention it, that Duke has, as soon as I can move my damn chair, I gotta get the carpet out of here so I can put something in here that I can roll on. Oh. Hey, Pen. Duke, where you going? Well, anyway, he has laryngeal paralysis, but not full-blown. As basically his voice box, the cartilage in the box, the actual box itself, his bark has changed, and he heaves for breath now when he gets riled up. So I try to keep him nice and calm, and he does, for some reason, he gets really happy when, hey, Bliss Chris, what's up? What's up? Oh, before I forget. Hello, Tucker, stupid. Come on. Gotta go to Tucker. Let's see, where you at? Tucker. All right.
Hey, it's Tucker Carlson.
No, wait. All right. Now, I haven't seen this yet. This was just dropped like 5-10 minutes ago, so let's take a look. Together.
Hey, it's Tucker Carlson. There's never been a candidate for president the media hated more than Robert F. Kennedy Jr. You thought that title belonged to Donald Trump. Of course it must. But go check the coverage. Trump got a gentle scalp massage by comparison when he announced. When Trump rolled out his presidential campaign in 2015, the New York Times waited until the 17th paragraph of the story to attack him. But as well known as he is, the paper said at the time, Trump is also widely disliked. And then they cited a poll to back it up. That was the attack on Trump. 8 years later, the Times attacked Bobby Kennedy in the very first sentence of the story. Quote, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the paper declared, announced a presidential campaign on Wednesday built on relitigating COVID-19 shutdowns and shaking Americans' faith in science. Shaking Americans' faith in science. Imagine if you were an ordinary New York Times subscriber reading that over coffee in your pre-war rent-controlled duplex on Columbus Avenue. You'd think Bobby Kennedy just declared war on the Enlightenment. My fellow Americans, I have come to shake your faith in science. Join me as I drag our nation back to the medieval period. You'd be appalled. CBS News viewers likely were appalled. In its coverage of Kennedy's announcement, CBS denounced the candidate's views as...
Wait, I have to say something. Most of the watchers of CBS and CNN don't probably even know what the word appalled means, so just saying.
Quote, misleading and dangerous. The LA Times called him a threat to democracy. At the offices of National Public Radio in Washington, a full-blown Category 5 hysteria typhoon broke out. NPR devoted an entire segment to savaging Kennedy, not just as a candidate, but as a human being. NPR described him as someone who, for his own perverse reasons, has made, quote, debunked and false and misleading claims that undermine trust in vaccines, and who, in his spare time, provides moral support to crazed extremists who, quote, rally under the banner of what they call liberty or freedom. People magazine didn't even bother to report a single word of anything Kennedy said at his announcement, and instead wrote an entire story about how his relatives hate him. Kennedy's younger sister, Carrie, the magazine reported solemnly, does not approve of Bobby Jr.'s harmful views. His harmful views! Bobby Kennedy's thoughts alone are evil enough to hurt people. That's been the tone of the media coverage around Bobby Kennedy Jr. for the past 18 years, since July of 2005. That's the moment that Kennedy published a magazine article suggesting there might be a link between the rise in diagnosed autism cases and the ever-expanding schedule of mandatory childhood vaccines. The day that story was published, Kennedy's reporting was considered so solid that two outlets ran it simultaneously, Rolling Stone and Salon.com. Unfortunately, neither one of them understood what they were up against. The pharma lobby rolled out the most ferocious public relations campaign in memory, and both publications swiftly caved. Both pulled the story and then disavowed it, groveling as they did. No one in the national media bothered to explain why autism diagnoses had skyrocketed. If it wasn't the vaccines, and maybe it wasn't, then what was it? To this day, there has not been a convincing explanation. Instead, reporters just attack Bobby Kennedy. They've called him a lunatic and a Nazi. Instagram shut down his account. YouTube just last week pulled down a perfectly reasonable interview he did with Jordan Peterson, citing unsuspicious public relations.
Those jackasses call all of us Nazi and all that shit. Now they're calling one of their own, the same thing.
Campaign in memory, and both publications swiftly caved. Both pulled the story and then disavowed it, groveling as they did. No one in the national media bothered to explain why autism diagnoses had skyrocketed. If it wasn't the vaccines, and maybe it wasn't, then what was it? To this day, there has not been a convincing explanation. Instead, reporters just attack Bobby Kennedy. They've called him a lunatic and a Nazi. Instagram shut down his account. YouTube just last week pulled down a perfectly reasonable interview he did with Jordan Peterson, citing unspecified misinformation, and so on. Kennedy became the most censored famous person in the United States. At this point, most Americans have heard a lot more about Bobby Kennedy Jr. than they've heard from him. He doesn't get many offers to speak from big platforms. But last week, Joe Rogan gave him one. Here's some of what he said.
Why do 5 of my 7 kids have allergies? You know, and of course, we know why. Because aluminum adjuvants give you allergies. They're designed to make you, to create a hyperimmune response to foreign particles. And the last category is, the allergic diseases, peanut allergies, food allergies, eczema, which I never knew anybody with eczema when I was a kid. I never, asthma, I knew people with asthma, but it wasn't 1 in every 4 black kids like it is today. So, all of those things. Now, we went from 6% of American having chronic disease. By 1986, we're starting to add the vaccines, and we got and 11.8% of kids now, so it's doubled.
Why do 5 of my 7 children have allergies? Now, we don't know the answer, of course, but it's an interesting question. In fact, it's an important question that deserves an adult answer, not that you should hold your breath waiting to get one. Bobby Kennedy asks a lot of questions like that. He notices things. Kennedy pays attention to the world around him, and he wonders why it's changing. He's an outdoorsman, a falconer, and a fly fisherman. He's interested in how nature works. He's curious. Not so long ago, these qualities were considered essential to the practice of science. All scientific discovery comes from observation, empiricism, patient watching. Without the willingness to put aside your pre-assumptions and assess with honesty the things you see and touch and smell, the changes taking place right in front of your face, you can't do science. You can't create art either, or journalism, or theology.
Good point.
You have to be willing to notice the obvious. And when they tell you you're not allowed to notice the obvious, you should be concerned.
No.
Imagine you were on a commercial airline flight. The plane is just leveled out at 37,000 feet. You're closing your eyes for a nap. And suddenly you smell smoke. And it's not your imagination. You can see it. It's starting to fill the cabin. All around you, people are hacking and choking. The guy in the next seat has a napkin pressed against his mouth. And he's mumbling what sounds like Psalm 23. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. So clearly, the airplane is on fire. But almost unbelievably, no one has said a word about it. Not a single person is acknowledging this is happening. Everyone is silent. So in panic, you yell for the flight attendant. There's smoke in the cabin, you say, as if she hasn't noticed. But she stares at you with hard eyes. Shut up, racist, she replies. That's a dangerous Russian conspiracy theory. Stop spreading misinformation or I'll call TSA.
Holy crap! That is such a cool freaking... Wow. I like the way he put that. Let's hear it again. 1,000 feet, you're closing your eyes for a nap. And suddenly you smell smoke. And it's not your imagination. You can see it. It's starting to fill the cabin. All around you, people are hacking and choking. The guy in the next seat has a napkin pressed against his mouth. And he's mumbling what sounds like Psalm 23. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. So clearly, the airplane is on fire. But almost unbelievably, no one has said a word about it. Not a single person is acknowledging this is happening. Everyone is silent. So in panic, you yell for the flight attendant. There's smoke in the cabin, you say, as if she hasn't noticed. But she stares at you with hard eyes. Shut up, racist, she replies. That's a dangerous Russian conspiracy theory. Stop spreading misinformation or I'll call TSA and have you arrested when we land. That sounds like a fever dream, but it's also pretty close to the experience of living in the United States at the moment. Yep.
All around you, things seem to be fraying and getting worse. Your gut tells you there's something very bad going on, and all the evidence suggests that there is. But the people in charge won't acknowledge that. Everything's fine, they scream. Stop noticing. But wait, I don't remember this many kids having allergies or asthma or eczema or autism or, for that matter, body dysmorphia. And why so many suicides? What's going on here? Shut up! Stop asking questions!
Holy shit. So, just now came into my head that when I was a kid, I never had allergies. I didn't get allergies until I moved to Delaware, where there's a ton of pollen there anyway, but there's a ton of pollen in Rhode Island too. And holy crap. That's something I haven't thought of. He makes me think more than I already do. And anybody that made that little snicker...
That's their answer. But Bobby Kennedy won't stop asking, and that's why they hate him. As Kennedy spoke on The Rogan Show, a reporter for Vice.com called Anna Merlin was watching. Merlin was so enraged by what she saw that she dashed off an article attacking Joe Rogan's employer for allowing the conversation to take place. Spotify has stopped even sort of trying to stem Joe Rogan's vaccine misinformation, read the headline. The piece never even described much of what Bobby Kennedy had actually said. Merlin dismissed the entire interview as, quote, a detailed survey of Kennedy's most dangerously incorrect views, a far too extensive list to outline in full. In other words, we here at Vice don't have time to describe all of Bobby Kennedy's lies, but trust us, they were lies. Then Merlin called Spotify to see if she could get the episode censored. Much to her profound frustration, Spotify refused to censor the episode and kept the interview on its website.
Good.
So she spent the next several days ranting about all of this on Twitter. People were listening to the wrong things, and Anna Merlin was mad about it. So was Peter Hotez. Hotez is a pediatrician from Texas who became moderately famous on MSNBC during the COVID lockdowns as a Biden shill and a vaccine promoter. Hotez read Anna Merlin's piece and then huffily retweeted it. Effectively, why is Bobby Kennedy allowed to talk in public? And that gave Joe Rogan an idea. Why not have Peter Hotez debate Bobby Kennedy on his show? You claim he's wrong. Why don't you explain why he's wrong?
Exactly.
That seemed fair. But Hotez wouldn't bite. So Rogan offered to give $100,000 to Hotez's favorite charity if he agreed to come on. Soon others made their own pledges and the pot swelled to over $1 million. But still, Peter Hotez wouldn't come. Instead, he scampered back to MSNBC, where one of the channel's oilier hosts assured him he was doing the right thing by dodging the debate. Arguing with Bobby Kennedy is morally equivalent to debating a Holocaust denier, the host said. No decent person would do that. And of course, Hotez agreed. Quote, 200,000 Americans needlessly perished because they believed the anti-vaccine disinformation and refused to take a COVID shot. So really, talking to Bobby Kennedy would be a lot like abetting murder. And Peter Hotez, MD, PhD, was not going to do that.
Damn, Queenie.
But wait a second, you ask yourself. Let's think about those numbers. 200,000 people died because of vaccine disinformation from Bobby Kennedy and people like him? How do we know that? Is that really science? No, it's not science. Because we don't know that. We can't know that. There is no way to know that. Peter Hotez's claim is a political attack posing as science, and he specializes in those. Here he is on television during the so-called pandemic.
It's all about mask compliance.
Y'all
That's going to be
remember this
absolutely
jackass,
critical,
right?
Because if you don't have masks, remember this
Wait.
virus aerosolizes.
With all the shit on the side here. Fucking commie news network fuckers. Okay, sorry. I was talking while he was talking, so.
Know that.
Redo.
Peter Hotez's claim is a political attack posing as science, and he specializes in those. Here he is on television during the so-called pandemic.
It's all about mask compliance. That's going to be absolutely critical, because if you don't have masks, remember this virus aerosolizes. So even 6 feet is not enough. It can go 17, 18 feet, several meters. What we really have to do is have vaccine mandates in the schools. We should have a rule that anyone who walks into a school over the age of 12 has to be vaccinated. This is the nature of the anti-vaccine movement in this country. It's somehow married now to far right-wing extremism and white nationalist group. Anyone who's unvaccinated and has been lucky enough to escape COVID, your luck is about to run out. And I call it anti-science aggression coming from Senator Rand Paul, Senator Johnson, members of the House of Representatives, in addition to those two senators, are killers.
It's all about mask compliance. We must have vaccine mandates for children. Take the vax or you will die. Anyone who disagrees with me is a white nationalist and a killer, and probably an agent of Putin. Do we say probably? Let's revise that. Certainly an agent of Putin. Again, here is Dr. Peter Hotez.
We're starting to see now those same anti-vaccine messages that's coming out of the U.S. And now we're finding it in Africa and Latin America. And remember, what the other reason we're seeing this is the Putin government has, and this has been reported by U.S. and British intelligence, has been piling on with this whole systematic program of what's being called weaponized health communications, trying to destabilize democracies with anti-vaccine and
CEO, director of the Center for Vaccine, but tropical what? Look at Dean of the National School of Tropical Medicine. That's not a thing. Oh my gosh.
U.S. and British intelligence has been piling on with this whole systematic program of what's being called weaponized health communications, trying to destabilize democracies with anti-vaccine, anti-science messages and targeting.
So according to British and U.S. intelligence, anyone who disagrees with Dr. Peter Hotez is a disloyal American working to destabilize our democracy on behalf of Vladimir Putin. Now, by comparison, never in his life has Bobby Kennedy Jr. said anything half that demented. But keep in mind, Peter Hotez claims to have a valid medical license. He is allowed to treat patients.
Right.
After a while, even MSNBC viewers were going to have some questions about a guy who talks like that, and apparently some of them did. As the lockdowns wore on, the population started to notice that many of the core claims the TV doctors were making were untrue. You'd only need one shot. If you got the shot, you would never get sick. You would never pass the virus to others, and so on. They said these things, as you know, again and again. Ultimately, they were proven wrong, but they never admitted it. They just attacked the people who noticed? Here's Dr. Peter Hotez calling for the Biden administration to arrest anyone who questions the COVID vaccine.
The Biden administration has to realize that anti-science is a killer. Disinformation. Yeah. It's not even just disinformation. This is an anti-science empire right now, and we need Homeland Security. We need the Justice Department. We've really got to figure this out. And Health and Human Services will not be able to figure this out on their own.
What?
It's not a medical problem. It's a law enforcement problem. They've doubted me. Arrest them. It's a horrifying outburst if you think about it. If you were on tape saying something like that, you would be deeply ashamed. But Peter Hotez is not ashamed. He's become even more grandiose. Hotez has written a self-congratulatory new book called The Deadly Rise of Anti-Science, a scientist's warning, as if you were a scientist. Here's how Hotez describes himself in the book's promotional literature. Quote, during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, one renowned scientist in his famous bow tie, appearing daily on major news networks such as MSNBC, NPR, and BBC, and others, Dr. Peter J. Hotez often went without sleep, working around the clock to develop a nonprofit COVID-19 vaccine and to keep the public informed. During that time, he was one of the most trusted voices on the pandemic and was even nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize for his selfless work. He also became one of the main targets of anti-science rhetoric that gained traction through conservative news media. End quote, though we could go on.
Holy crap.
So here you have.
That was all a quote from this jackass's book? That sounded like a freaking parody movie first liner thing. Oh my god.
Have a renowned scientist, selfless, trusted, going without sleep, self-denying, persecuted by extremists for daring to tell the truth. The Albert Schweitzer of cable news. That's Dr. Peter J. Hotez. The fact that a partisan buffoon like Peter Hotez can describe himself this way with a straight face and the backing of a publisher makes you despair for the country's future.
Comics, you suck!
But don't despair.
But that's
there is hope. Hotez will never debate Bobby Kennedy Jr., but it doesn't matter. Kennedy has already won. He's more honest than Dr. Peter Hotez, and that's obvious to anyone who's paying attention. A New Economist poll shows that Kennedy is more popular and far less hated than either major party frontrunner. After almost 20 years of being silenced, Bobby Kennedy Jr. is being heard, and why wouldn't he be? Kennedy's theories about vaccines may be right, they may be partially right, they could be even utterly wrong. No one's proved it either way. But what we can say with certainty is that America's medical establishment has beclowned itself for all time. Its official positions on vaccines, psychiatric drugs, puberty blockers, reassignment surgeries, a long list of other politically fashionable priorities have no connection whatsoever to legitimate science. It's all effectively witchcraft. At the annual meeting of the American Medical Association in Chicago last week, for example, delegates issued a statement attacking the body mass index as a tool of, quote, racist exclusion, which has caused historical harm.
I gotta hear that again. What the hell? Because I was looking and laughing at freaking comics. And furthermore, farting under the covers is no longer called a Dutch oven. It shall now be known as the COVID test. If you can smell it and taste it, you're negative. Oh, that was great. And the only time I'm an agent of Putin is after I eat baked beans. Oh, jeez. That's why I call you when I'm in a bad spot, because you always make me friggin' laugh. Crazy ass bitch.
No connection whatsoever to legitimate science. It's all effectively witchcraft. At the annual meeting of the American Medical Association in Chicago last week, for example, delegates issued a statement attacking the body mass index as a tool of, quote, racist exclusion, which has caused historical harm. Next year, they will denounce thermometers and stethoscopes. They're insane.
Yeah.
Compared to them, Bobby Kennedy is a mainstream figure. And people understand that. That's why he's winning. And you know he's winning by how his critics are doing. So just 4 years ago, Anna Merlin was regarded as an important expert on conspiracy theories and misinformation. She'd written a book on the topic. Here she is talking about it.
I've always thought that in the case of conspiracy peddlers, it's not necessarily a super profitable enterprise to ask whether they really believe it or not, because I don't know what's in their hearts. I don't know what's in their minds. All I know is what they spend their time doing, which is promoting conspiracy.
Whoa. Am I seeing things or that chick's eyes are popping out of her fucking head? No joke. Just saying. I'm not bashing a woman. I'm just saying, looks like her eyes are popping out of her fucking head. Remember Tom and Jerry when Tom's eyes went, whoop? That's what that looks like. Okay, carry on.
I don't know what's in their hearts. I don't know what's in their minds. All I know is what they spend their time doing, which is promoting conspiracy theories. In the case of ordinary people, conspiracy consumers, and most Americans are, to some degree, consumers of conspiracy theories. All the studies that we have show that like 1 in 3 Americans believe in some conspiracy theory to some extent. For the people in the very sort of deep end of the conspiracy pool, people...
Hold on. I don't know about y'all, but all my conspiracy theories came true. I'm fresh out. Leave some for me in the comments because, like I said, I'm fresh out, and this chick's a freaking idiot.
Are consuming a lot of conspiracy content. I think it's really important to look at the way it helps them make sense of the world and make sense of our political moment and make sense of a lot of times like what's happening in their own lives.
All the studies that we have show that like 1 in 3 Americans believe in some conspiracy theory. Huh? You'll notice the upspeak, the rising inflection at the end of the sentence. That's a familiar tick in Brooklyn. It's designed to turn a declarative sentence into a question and thereby belittle the listener. Do you follow me? Is this too complicated for you? So the lady in the nose ring wants you to know she's smart, but she's not.
Nope.
When Merlin recorded that interview, Vice, where she now works, was valued at more than $5 billion. Genius investors like James Murdoch were showering the company with money. Everyone wanted in on the future of media, which was uptalkers like Anna Merlin lecturing you about racism and misinformation. But that has changed. Last month, Vice filed for bankruptcy. Anna Merlin is still on Twitter screeching about how her critics are transphobic, but nobody cares.
Nope.
Nobody wants to hear from Anna Merlin anymore.
Nope.
The gatekeepers are transparently ridiculous. Everyone can see that. People have started to notice.
Oh, Tucker. People made the news. Yes, man. You are awesome. Oh, man. That was awesome. And I gotta ask, what was that, huh? That was funny. Oh. Comics! Oh my gosh! Oh, I forgot to fix the freaking chat so that people watching could see it. Oh, I forgot. Damn. I apologize. I'll make sure I got it set up so that it will remember whatever settings I make for next time. He said, I'm pretty sure that broad left her vibrator on high speed. Oh my gosh. You are, oh my goodness. Only comics. You're right, sis. Only comics can pull that shit. Oh my gosh. So, as usual, everything Tucker said, right on the money. Comics, yes. Conspiracy theorists are like 100 no. And that's why I was saying, I need some more because all of mine came true. So, if anybody has any, put them in the comments or send them my way, something. I don't know, y'all. There's some Gavin McGinnis threw a what? That stupid heart thing is in the way. I can't frickin' see it. Oh, he threw a huge party when Vice filed for bankruptcy. Their demise was almost like okay, I need to explain something. When shit like that happens, first off, I hate saying like, and I hate it when people go like this, like that, and say like 5 times in a frickin' sentence. Like, I just said it again! Anyway, I actually know now what I have that causes the talking thing. It's called... select... No, not selective. But it's aphasia. And I can look it up. It'll actually be helpful because I forgot the first word already. It is... So, aphasia is caused by damage to one or more of the language areas of the brain. Most often, the cause of the brain injury is a stroke. Not in my case. MS. The person is... Now, this is for Oh, I'm not going to look at fucking Wikipedia. Fuck them. Mayo Clinic. It affects how you communicate. It can impact your speech, as well as the way you write and understand both spoken and written language. Aphasia usually happens suddenly after a stroke or a head injury, or in my case, after your immune system attacks the nerves up in that area of my brain, strips them like a freaking electrician strips a wire, and all of the signal goes everywhere. And then when it heals, the scar tissue is like putting electrical tape on that transmission wire. It's never going to be good again. That is what I have. But it's not serious. I don't have the high level, because I mean, obviously I can sit here and I can talk to you guys, but I don't know if maybe go back and read go back and watch one of my other videos where I'm like, I'll be talking. I said like again. Ah! Fucking hate that. When I'm talking and I kind of stop, like I just did, that's what that is. It's on my list. I have a list of everything that the VA says is wrong with me. Basically. It's how they gave me my rating. And just so you know, 1 + 1 does not equal 2 with the VA. Just so you know. Because all of my percentages add up to like 260 some odd. But that's not how it works. Okay, so rabbit trail. I apologize. Okay, so y'all know how nowadays everybody's like, oh, what's with the attack and drag queens? They're just, they just want to freaking read to kids, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I don't think that's what I said, but strips him faster than a stripper staring at a fistful of hundreds. I don't think you can. I don't think you're understanding me, but that was cute. Okay. And you fucking derailed me. That's one. I was doing good. And then that derailed me. Ugh. Anyway. You're succeeding, comics. Oh, and here's a good thing. I'm able to actually put my hair in a friggin' ponytail finally. I'm thinking I'm gonna shave like 1/4 of an inch up, because my hair is so heavy and there's so much of it that I'm constantly sweating because of the freaking hair on my neck. Okay, that was another rabbit trail. And I derailed myself. No, I don't think I actually got back on the rails from when comics knit. Ah! Got it. Okay. Everybody's like, oh, drag queens, they're just wanting to read to kids, blah, blah, blah. It's bullshit. Okay? You know it. I know it. Everybody, shut up, comics. Thank you. And that little heart is covering up the smiley face. Fucking hate this shit. Anyway. Drag queens are the pinnacle of kink. At least they were back when I was growing up. There is a place in Rhode Island. Oh no, it's Massachusetts actually, my bad. Provincetown. They call it P-Town. Yeah, that I wouldn't be surprised if every single house in that town was painted rainbow, to give you an idea. My dad, not just my dad. There was so many people that would make jokes about going to P-Town and doing the silly feminized guy trying to talk like a girl, high voice, and doing this, and jokes and stuff like that people used to make that were just stupid jokes. It's when people had senses of humor still, and you could say off-color jokes because they were off-color jokes. Well, you can't now. But that, I think I was 14 when somebody explained to me what P-Town actually was and what went down there. And yeah, drag queens were the highest rung on the kink ladder. Okay? So with that, I am going to show you proof. Check this out. Can you believe that shit? Did anybody hear this through the news today? Anybody? Because I didn't until I saw this when didn't have the time. Crap. But yeah, this was, I think this was around between 4 and 5 when I saw this. And just get a load of this shit. First responders found 4 children secreted behind a transvestite party in South Boston over the weekend, featuring a corpse, drugs, and sex toys, according to city officials. A fire department report obtained by the Boston Herald and confirmed by police indicated that firefighters were dispatched Saturday morning to the city-run government Mary Ellen McCormick housing complex after being told a man had gone into cardiac arrest and desperately needed medical attention. The Herald, this is the Boston newspaper, reported that the Boston Fire Department crews performed CPR on the man but were unable to revive him. City Councilor at Large Michael Flaherty, whatever, public safety chairman on the council, indicated the man had succumbed to an apparent overdose. Usually pretty easy to see if somebody dies of an overdose when they are surrounded by drug paraphernalia. Just saying. A BPD spokesman told the Herald at about 11:11 a.m. This was in the freaking morning, during the day. June 17th, officers responded to the area of 381 Old Colony Avenue for a death investigation. The hell does that mean? Death investigation. Gotta make everything sound so... Ugh. District detectives handling not suspicious, no further information. Okay. While the nature of the man's passing wasn't suspicious, his environment certainly was. According to the incident report, the apartment was in extremely unsanitary conditions. Approximately 6 adults. I don't know how that's an approximate. Either you have 6 adults or you don't, unless one of them's missing a leg. Just saying. Who appeared to be males were seen in the apartment. And WCVB TV, that's in Boston too, noted the men were dressed up in women's clothing, which used to be something that was kept private behind closed doors and now is pushed on everyone. Anyway, City Councilor Aaron Murphy told WFXT TV that there was a lot of drug paraphernalia, and I don't think that's spelled right, and sex toys all around And then one of the firefighters said they heard a cry for help. The men, at least one of whom was wearing a wig, were reportedly uncooperative and denied there were children inside the apartment. Despite their alleged protestation, firefighters found 4 children in the back bedroom being hidden by an adult male from first responders. The children were ages 5 to 10. First responders reportedly indicated that the children were likely being abused and neglected. You think? Fuck. Nick Collins, the Democratic state senator who represents the area, stated in a Facebook post, "No child should be exposed to what these children are alleged to have been exposed to." You know how fucking sick I am of the word alleged or alleged? It is the epitome of CYA now. CYA meaning comics. I just saw which leg was missing. You're an ass. But seriously, you can't say anything now without somebody. Everybody's afraid of saying the guy was holding the kids in a room, in the back room, and this is the shit that was going on, and there you go. Everybody has to put alleged on it. Alleged, however the fuck people say it. I say alleged. That even though the person has eyes and probably has common sense, although probably not, it's become like a white tiger. Practically like, it's very rare. It's not so common. Like, as Tom MacDonald says, common sense ain't that common. But everybody having to put alleged in front of everything they might say is just so annoying. Very annoying. So, Department of Children and Families informed WFXT that the children who live in the home were taken into DCF custody, those poor friggin' kids, as if it's just the frying pan into the fire. Fire crews had prompted the secondary rescue by filing a 51A report of children alleged to be suffering from abuse or neglect. This Boston City Council President Ed Flynn said of the first responders' findings, "This horrific and inhuman incident demands accountability," with an exclamation point even. It also underscores the need for a complete review of BHA Boston's inspections and eviction practices, security efforts in developments and protocols to ensure children are safe in every BHA Boston Housing Authority. Councillor Murphy noted on Twitter that a hearing had been scheduled for later in the month to review Boston Housing Authority safety protocols regarding the properties under their management. And we all know how that's going to go. Shit in, shit out. But I mean, oh, for shit's sake. I don't remember reading this. I didn't read down all the way down here. Democratic Governor Maura Healey, presently working to update Massachusetts' grade school curriculum to more broadly incorporate gender ideology, said this is just heartbreaking, a terrible situation. And you want to put that shit in the classroom? Everybody knows you're full of shit, Healey. Full of effing shit. And just unfriggin' believable. And Queenie in comics, I agree. They should be castrated, if not put to death. Honestly, I think that the firing line should be brought back. but don't use anyone who has really good aim. Just saying. Yeah, Breitbart. That's where I saw it. After I looked the second time, I saw it. The first time I saw it in. Sorry, my skin's so fucking dry. Inject those guys with that. Oh, hold on. Stupid heart's in the way again. Inject those guys with that venom from the spider in Brazil that will make you die from a hard-on? What? I'm gonna have to look that up. That sounds like a comicsism. You made that up. But I've got more. And we're going past 7. And if Duke wants to yell at me, then I'll have to just figure something out. I don't know. Yeah, he's not under the desk anymore. Shit. Okay. So, first off, we're going to read. This is, crap. Okay. So, Drag Story Hour. There's 2 different sites. One says Drag Queen Story Hour. This one's Drag Story Hour. And it's just, this is so stupid. Now, I don't know if you saw in the thumbnail that, let's see. Oh, and by the way, this one here, shields up. Watch. Gee, I wonder what that is. Just saying. Yeah, go back. Go back. I'm not putting anything in there. So if you did or didn't notice, I just want to... That's funny. Right there. That kid does not look happy. But this is what I put in my thumbnail. What's this motherfucker doing with his hands on this kid? Tying, like, some ribbon or something? Fucking psycho. And then we got this one over here. What in the hell does she have in her hand? I can't tell. It looks like a crown or something on a stick. And then here's a little kid looking at this guy. And just, I mean, what the frig? What the frig? So, here's another thing. Sorry, I just went New England for a second then. Here's another thing that I saw. Believe it or not, Snopes sucks. But they actually got this one right. So, instead of reading the article, I wanted to actually show you guys because Snopes actually did something right for once. A convicted sex offender read to children at a Houston public library. He did this in 2006 before taking part in Drag Queen Story Hour or Story Time in a Houston public library in 2017 and 18. True. Multiple inquiries about a registered sex offender convicted of assaulting an 8-year-old boy. And let's see, New American website. Drag queen who reads stories to children at a Houston public library last year is a convicted pedophile and considered to be at risk of repeating his offense. A fact uncovered by parents opposed to drag queen story time. Go figure! Not by library officials, who should be checking this shit out beforehand. So, there's that. Now, see, now this is Drag Story Hour. That one was Drag Queen Story Time. Here's something right here. What in the F? What would this be a nonprofit for? And look at this. Drag Story Hour was created by Michelle T and Radar Productions, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. In San Francisco in 2015. It started out as drag queens reading stories to children in libraries and grew into a global phenomenon. What the fuck ever. DSH now offers literary and creative programming for kids and teens of all ages, led by drag queens, kings, and all other royal beings. The fuck? Really? The art of drag. Now, drag can be an art when done tastefully. I will agree to that. But have you ever seen something like that done tastefully? No. I haven't. Yeah, exactly. There is a simple and foolproof method to make sure those sick bleeps never repeat again. I agree. There are. So, check this out. Celebrates reading through the glamorous art of drag. The fuck is glamorous about a guy putting makeup on and putting on women's clothes? Give me a break. All it's doing is mocking women, and now you're mocking women in front of kids. What the fuck? So, our chapter network, there's a network of these MFers now. Kids can express their authentic selves and become bright lights of change in their communities. Who writes this garbage? Ay, ay, ay. It's canned. You see, everything that just said like that right there is canned and reworded everywhere. Yeah, comics, I have no idea. I have no... Does anybody know what the hell a drag king is? Never heard of it. And other royal beings. Royal my ass. Our vision. We envision a world where kids can learn from LGBTQ plus stories and experience to love themselves, celebrate the fabulous diversity in their communities, and stand up for what they believe in and each other. Wow. Now, you can contact your local drag chapter. Then there's a thing where you can start a chapter. Give me a break. There was something else, okay? So with all of this stuff, our chapter network creates diverse, accessible, and culturally inclusive family programming where kids can express their authentic selves. I swear, I am so sick of that fucking phrase. And become bright lights of change in that, yeah, whatever. But on here, booking. Host an inclusive and diverse event. They have a range of tailor-made employee experiences to add some sparkle to your team meetings and company-wide in-person and online. Our trained storytellers, woof! Our trained storytellers offer themed events ranging from our signature storytelling programming for children and families to happy hour events for adults. We also love to build custom events around your existing calendar, as well as celebrate holidays with specialized events like our LGBTQ Pride, Halloween Spooky Hours, Winter Themed, Snowball, Indigenous and Black History. I didn't even know there was an Indigenous History Month. When the hell did that happen? And Indigenous and Black History Month story hours and so much more. Yeah, I'm sure. So much more. And here's the form. Online, in person, and live stream. Intended audience for the event. Special to a particular group of employees or other. Target age group. I just fucking no. Bye-bye. So, this from the magazine, The Social Order Education. So, Miss Tori, whatever the fuck that says, I don't even know. But here is the Drag Queen Story Hour, in which performers in drag read books to kids in libraries, schools, and bookstores, has become a cultural flashpoint. Yes. The political right, anybody that's got a real fucking brain and knows how to frickin' think, not just the right, has defended... Wait. Oh, no. I was gonna say, wait a minute. Defended? What? No, just the political right has denounced these performances as sexual transgressions against children. Facts. While the political left has defended them as an expression of LGBTQ pride. You know, for the longest time it was just LGB and none of this shit was up in your face. Families with children find themselves caught in the middle. Drag Queen Story Hour pitches itself as a family-friendly event, which we just saw on that one Texas one. Where, look, there it is again. But many parents, even if reluctant to say it publicly, have an instinctual distrust of adult men in women's clothing, dancing, and exploring sexual themes with their children. Yeah. Again, common sense. So now, this part has just transitioned into these concerns are justified. But to mount an effective opposition, one must first understand the sexual politics behind the glitter, sequins, and heels. This requires a working knowledge of an extensive history from the origin of the first Queen of Drag in the late 19th century to the development of, get this, there's an effing development of academic queer theory, which provides the intellectual foundation for the modern Drag for Kids movement. What the fuck? A drag queen might appear as a comic figure, but he carries an utterly serious message: the deconstruction of sex, the reconstruction of child sexuality, and the subversion of middle-class family life. The ideology that drives this movement was born in the sex dungeons of San Francisco and incubated in the academy. It is now being transmitted with official state support in a number of public libraries and schools across the United States. it's also happening in Europe and quite a few other countries. Very, very much. These mother MFers have poisoned the entire planet with this BS. So this is true. The ideology that drives this movement was born in the sex dungeons of San Francisco. That's where this garbage started. See, by excavating the foundations of this ideology and sifting through the literature of his activists, parents and citizens can finally understand the new sexual politics and formulate a strategy for resisting it. I'm surprised I haven't got smacked yet. I'm good with that. Start with queer theory. The academic discipline born in 1984 with the publication of Gail S. Rubin's essay, Thinking Sex, Notes for a Radical Theory of the Politics of Sexuality. First off, when in the did sexuality have anything to do with politics? Except when the freakoids were going behind the scenes and doing all of this shit that one young senator kid showed and told everybody about. Beginning in the late 70s, Rubin, a lesbian writer and activist, had immersed herself in the subcultures of leather bondage, orgies, fisting, and sadomasochism in San Francisco, migrating through an ephemeral network of BDSM, which you guys can read that, I'm not going to say it again, clubs, literary societies, and New Age spiritualist gatherings. In Thinking Sex, she sought to reconcile her experiences in the sexual underworld with the broader forces of American society. Yeah, there should never be anything in American society that has to do with any of this bullshit. Look what this crazy bitch wrote. Modern Western societies appraise sex acts according to a hierarchical system of sexual value. Marital, reproductive heterosexuals are alone at the top erotic pyramid. Clamoring below are unmarried monogamous heterosexuals in couples, followed by most other heterosexuals. Stable long-term lesbian and gay male couples are verging on respectability, but barred. I'm done reading this. This shit is fucking insane, and this shit needs to fucking stop. I am sick and I was supposed to start, I was trying not to swear, but that shit pissed me off. Just gonna say. What about Tom Petty? Oh, yeah. Tom Petty. Yeah. Queenie, I had not heard Tom Petty's song sung with that free, the change of the lyrics. I hadn't heard that or thought it until 1993 when I was stationed in Griffiths. I always sing it that way too now. Once I hear it, I can't unhear it. It's how I hear it every way or every time. And I'm not going to say it on here so that I don't ruin the song for other people that probably haven't heard it said that way. So, just saying. Not going to wreck it for you guys, okay? So, that was tonight. That was my rant, I guess you could say. If we're talking about S stuff, The next sentence cannot contain any version of the word clam. Just saying. You're horrible. You're horrible and hilarious. Oh my gosh. So, the long and the short of it is they're insane, but most everybody already knows that. They're disgusting. It needs to stop. But how can we go about doing that? That's where I'm frustrated, because all I have is you guys, talking to you guys, maybe making one of you guys think about something, and then go talk to somebody else, and then somebody else, and that's the only way that I can think of for trying to make any kind of a mark against this garbage, is to put it out here. And like I said, I'm surprised that I did not get knocked the fuck down from this one. Oh, it could possibly just, once we're done, it might not show up. So, if it doesn't, and you want to see, I've got my Rumble synced with this, so when I put a video on YouTube, it puts it on Rumble as well. But I'm so sick of this upside down freaking crazy ass bullshit that's going on. I'm sick of it. And I honestly feel freaking useless to not be able to do anything about it. That is the biggest thing of all, is that I don't like that feeling. I don't like feeling like I'm helpless. I can't do anything. So doing this, I don't feel as helpless. I don't feel as helpless, but not by much. So if you could, please hit that like button. I really appreciate it. Thank you, all of you, comics, Papa. Where'd Craig go? Didn't see. Hold on. It's just comics, Queenie and Papa. That's alright. Thank you for spending some time with me. And I am shocked that Mr. You-Know-Who did not bark in the doorway today. Which means he's sleeping. Really sleeping heavy. Oh, we just took our allergy meds at 5. Benadryl. It sometimes knocks him out. Oh, I hate that. But it doesn't do it every time. But it's the only thing that I can do for him and I. Callie doesn't have an issue. Penny doesn't have an issue with allergies. But Duke and I do. Of course, Duke and Aries did too. My Aries. But I got them when I was in Delaware, so go figure. Anyway, as I was saying, I appreciate you spending some time with me, even if you just popped on. Comics! Oh my gosh! Shiloh! What's up? Good to see you. You made it right as I ended. I'm just getting ready to end. And Comics just said something freaking hilarious. Apparently I missed something, and Queenie said something about Brazilian wax, and now he's got the song Run Through the Jungle stuck in his head. Wax stuck. I see what you did there. How you doing, Shiloh? This one's probably gonna piss you off. The subject, anyway. But at the beginning, first thing we did, because Tucker dropped a new episode right before I went live, so we watched that. I watched it with y'all because I hadn't seen it, because it was while I was in the process. So, like I was saying, on that note, I love you guys. Thank you so much for spending a little time here with me. I really appreciate it. And I'm just hoping that I can spark some conversation or something. That's the only thing that I really know that I can do. Because where I live right now is not somewhere that I want to bring up stuff like this. Because the last time I tried, I got a headache from all the yelling, and I wasn't yelling. So, I love you guys. Thank you for spending time with me. I really appreciate it. And I hope to see you on the next one, Thursday, 8 Eastern, 6 Mountain. Because it's 7:18 here now. New Year's just isn't the same. It isn't. Oh! Gun cleaning. Cool. All right. I'm out. Love you guys. Have an awesome weekend.